Okay, so today's topic is the importance of balance in everyday life and spiritually. And when I say balance, I mean in a lot of different ways. So firstly, what I mean is through the chakra system. So balancing the colors of the chakra, meaning, and what I mean by colors is not particularly only the physical colors, it's the colors of the colors. So it's like balancing your survival, your sex drive, your power, your love, your expression, your visualization, and your unitive consciousness. And it's kind of taking all of those things and then becoming aware of the influences of each one of these types of energy, and starting to really be able to cultivate each one of them individually and kind of separate the rays of your aura, if that makes any sense. And a lot of this is going to be said in a type of kind of like light language, which is, I talked about it in a previous video, but it's kind of a behind the scenes kind of messaging. So anyways, so the importance of balance. The biggest thing about this is that the way that expression flows through you is dependent on the balance of your chakras. So if you are imbalanced on any of them, then the energy can't flow through you correctly. And what that means is that the expression of consciousness, or the expression of source or God, cannot flow through you correctly in order to be able to express itself how it wants to. What that means is that you kind of have to consciously start to balance these areas in yourself in order to be able to start to embody a consciousness that is more than the average human being. So after all this, what can we do to start to learn how to balance ourselves, right? So the first thing is, for the root, is getting your food in order. So it's learning about the gross body and the uptake of food and how that affects your conscious state of awareness. So the biggest thing is to start eating healthy and start to learn what the foods are doing to you and what the foods are actually like. When you eat a food, you want to, first of all, you want to not overindulge. So you want to learn how much your body actually needs rather than how much you want. Because I'd say 90% of the Americans nowadays kind of overindulge on the food and don't really understand how much food their body really needs in order to be able to function correctly. Because your body really doesn't need that much food. Like it only needs maybe 1 or 2 meals a day, and they really don't even have to be big meals. And once you start to realize that your body functions better on smaller amounts of food than it does on larger amounts of food. So it's actually, on an empty stomach, your body actually functions much better than it does on any type of food that's in the stomach. And the reason behind that is that you're kind of like lighter in every aspect whenever you don't have food in your stomach. So that's why, like, when people fast for long periods of time, they start to have these experiences of, first, lightness, and then secondly, like, they experience the light in different ways. So as your body becomes lighter, your mind becomes lighter. And this is the connection of the mind, body, and spirit as well. So like, as your body becomes lighter, with like, this is particularly talking about fasting. So when you lose this excess weight, then you gain the kind of freedom that comes from that. And that's a freedom of mind and body, and that comes from spirit, because you start to be able to tap into this other source of energy that is much more intelligent, and it's actually more kind of more powerful than the energy that you get from food. This energy is something that is surrounding us all the time, and we can tap into at any time, but we really don't, because we never are able to even feel that energy source or that energy field, because we always have food in our stomach. So once you start to release a lot of the food that's in the stomach and get rid of the toxins in the body, then you'll really kind of like help out with your root chakra. And this is going to help with like any kind of feelings of anxiety or depression, or any feelings of like paranoia or dread or anything like that. Those all can be fixed through the diet. And the next is the sacral, and I guess I can go quickly through all of them again for this video of balance, but the next video is going to be on the lower three. So the next is the sacral, and the way to balance that is to actually stop, or not stop, but like become aware of your sexual energy. So become aware that, first of all, the sexual energy is the absolute most powerful energy that there is on this, that we can tap into as human beings. And it literally creates life. So it's your creative energy or your creative flow. And so the more that you release that, the more that you kind of are not going to be able to tap into a source of creativity and flow that you want. And that ends up causing, and blockages in the sacral chakra can also cause some sorts of different depressions and anxieties as well. But that's more along the lines of like feeling inadequate or feeling not worthy and not good enough. And that also corresponds with the solar plexus. But going back to the sexual energy, like what you want to do is just become aware of how much that energy really influences your life. And if you were able to, because what's going to happen is a lot of times people actually have these things in like these kind of spirits that are attached to them. And a lot of people call them like Jezebels. But basically what it is like it's almost like a spirit that is attached to this act, where it will basically force you to do the act in order to be able to satisfy itself and drain your energy. And the way that it forces you to do it is by basically like bringing you to a point where you feel extremely horny, basically, and then like it will kind of let go of that energy, and then like it'll cause you to basically want for it to release that energy. And then as soon as you consent to that, then it takes your energy and it leaves. And it doesn't leave you with a more satisfied feeling. It leaves you with a kind of a feeling like you have just given something up in a way. Anyways, but like the point that I'm making behind that is that these things, when you start to like literally just see if you can stop masturbating or having sex for 1 week, and that's it, just 1 week. And then if you can do that for a week without having anger or kind of like side effects, then you'll know that you are consciously using your sexual energy and that you're not abusing it. And but once you save that energy, it's going to start out where all of the things that you kind of run away using that energy, like you run away from using that sexual energy, like all that stuff is going to come back and it's going to be presented to you. So it's not like it's going to be really easy, but it will show you things or aspects about yourself that you were previously unconscious to. The solar plexus is your self-confidence center and your ability to influence large groups of people. Anyways, so it's like your ability to influence large groups of people. And through that, the way that you can actually build that up is through willpower. So you develop your willpower. And with the methods that I've been looking through is that saving your sexual energy, or like keeping yourself from doing that, or like basically like keeping yourself from releasing that energy, is one way to really, really quickly develop willpower and to develop a sense of security in yourself, and to start to really understand what your vibration is as opposed to everything around you. The heart is really developed after you get the sense of yourself. So you start to feel the power in yourself, and when you do, you will almost naturally move to a space where you're trying to express that outward to other people, but like it's more of like and that's the throat that I'm talking about actually, but like the heart is open through the unity consciousness that comes with the understandings that you get whenever you cultivate all this willpower and stuff. Because what happens is, like, through that willpower you can actually use that to express through the heart by kind of gaining these understandings of unity, and that those understandings actually get kind of downloaded to you as you move that energy consciously upward. So once you start to save that sexual energy, it makes it way easier to move it upwards, because that kind of Kundalini energy can then rise up. And once it hits the heart, then you start to get these senses of unity and these senses of togetherness, and understanding that this is all made out of love, and that it's here for our growth and for the love of us, and it's here for us. The throat is through expression, so the way to balance that out is to start to express yourself and start to make yourself kind of basically it's making yourself feel better by expressing the things that you have on your mind. And because everybody has things that they know that other people don't, and a lot of people have trouble expressing any of this kind of stuff, including me, obviously. I have had a lot of trouble with this, but I'm starting to be able to get better at it. But basically there's things that people know where it's like the only way for you to be able to really get that is through that like there's specific, like everybody has a specific thing that is kind of like their thing, you know, and like this is the thing that they were meant to communicate. And everybody has something that they can kind of put out there in a way that nobody else can. And that's like the way to balance your expression or your throat. With the third eye, you can do this through intuition. Like basically you start to meditate, for one, do visualization, do intuitive kind of work. So you're basically going to want to start to develop your intuition by like listening to your intuition. So it's like that voice in your head that kind of like points you what direction to go. And then also you can start to, by using the heart, you can actually use your heart to open your third eye as well, by becoming more conscious of the unity consciousness around us. That actually opens up the heart and the third eye at the same time. And then feeling worthy of having these kind of like extraordinary abilities and powers and like different things like that, that also will open your third eye. And most people are imbalanced in their third eye because they have actually more energy everywhere else, and their third eye is normally like not very active at all. So generally that for most of the population, that'll be right here. Most of that energy will be. So once that sexual energy is starting to be kind of cultivated, then it'll kind of like balance itself out by opening your third eye. The crown is opened through just basically like the crown is more of like your kind of connection to everything around you, and it's like kind of set in its intention. But you can basically open your crown chakra by just as you do work on all the chakras, and you start to understand what exactly they are and what they do, that is what's going to open up the crown. So basically, the more that you kind of like understand energy and you start to get to this state of being able to like see the energy, or like see it in a way that makes sense to you, or like understand that like the way that it flows and how that affects everything around you and how important that really is to your everyday life, that's when you're going to start to really open up your crown. But the importance of balancing all of these is like, and I know that I literally like kind of skipped out on that, but literally the importance of balancing these is that in order to be able to be a good conduit for information and love, you have to be a clear channel for that kind of information. And the only way for you to become a clear channel is for your energy centers to be balanced. Otherwise, when they're muddied up and they're kind of like all mingled together and not kind of clearly defined on each one of them, then messages become distorted. And a lot of times that's how kind of things are manipulated and exploited. And it's actually what master manipulators use to kind of distort messages and then manipulate people and get them to do the things that they want to do. But the importance of balance is just that you need to be able to kind of call upon each one of these centers and understand what exactly they're doing and why they're important, and what, like, because they're always active in your life and they're always kind of like influencing your experience. But until you become aware of how they're doing that, then it's not going to be able to really like express itself the way that it needs to or wants to. And your growth level will just exponentially skyrocket as soon as you start to understand this energy and learn how to move it around in your body, and like what it is and how it affects your mental and your physical and your spiritual life. Yeah, that was just a really quick one, but I'm gonna make another one about the lower three. I know that I went off on just explaining what they do, but that all of this kind of shows how balance is necessary, in the way that really the only way to be able to truly kind of express there's this level that we all kind of want to be at, where everybody wants to be able to express themselves and show their uniqueness, but also to feel the love through unity. And I feel that really one of the only ways to do that is to balance yourself and to understand how to express this energy and this kind of energy, you know. But I don't know. You guys have a wonderful day, and I'll make another one today about the lower three centers. And I was gonna make an entire series about that, because it seems like I haven't really found very many people on YouTube who are talking about that, and I find it very, very important, because I've had some profound revelations through understanding the energy centers. So yeah, and then also a video on Reiki and just energy movement in general is coming up as well. Have a good one, and bye.